Four, three, two, live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shirley Duncan. I'm the queen of hand dancing in Baltimore City. I started hand dancing a couple years ago, but I have a special guest on here today that's going to take you way back and give you some history about Chick Webb Recreation Center, how it got started, what it represents. He has so much knowledge. I'm just going to let him talk. The first thing I'm going to ask him his name.
Name is Ronald Miles. Miles with the I.
Well, how you doing, Mr. Miles?
I'm doing exceptionally well.
What I want to ask you right now, I want you to tell me a little about Chick Webb and how that recreation got started.
Wow. It's a great story. It's a story that Baltimore did not know about. I did not learn about the Chick Webb Memorial Recreation Center until late in my day. I mean, the center was there, but the history behind it is just awesome. It was Chick Webb. First of all, talking about Chick Webb, he was the most famous drummer in America during the 30s, during the 20s and the 30s. He mostly made his reign in New York, and he was the king of drummers, and he made the Savoy very, very popular. But there was other venues that Chick Webb played in as well. That included Connie's Inn, the Roseland. So there were several venues that Chick Webb played, but he evolved. He evolved to be our band leader, and also I should mention that although we talk about him being a band leader in the drums, Chick Webb was an awesome philanthropist as well. He gave back to the community. But anyway, the story goes that it was a deathbed wish because Chick Webb actually was born and raised in East Baltimore. He lived at 1313 Ashland Avenue. That's right there in East Baltimore. And his family was members of Waters AME Church, which is right there in the neighborhood as well. But anyway, he first went on up to New York and made himself famous. And here in Baltimore, being very, very segregated, there weren't any real public facilities for blacks. Chick Webb knew this, and he vowed his deathbed wish was to have a rec center for youth to avoid juvenile delinquency and become good citizens. He gave a task to Dr. Ralph Jonathan Young. They're very important. Dr. Young is very much in the shadows, but it was Dr. Young who carried out Chick Webb's death wish. What he did, he said, call my friend Joe Lewis, he'll fill any house. Dr. Young, with the Recreation Committee that included many black doctors, Baltimore, and some others, formed the committee. They called on Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis then called on the Rhythm Club in New York. So in February 1940, I tell you, the 5th Regiment Army exploded. They had 7,500 people who came to that particular concert. Seven tickets was $1.15. The performers, well, Joe Lewis was the MC, and the performers included Ella Fitzgerald, Jackie Mobley, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, the Ink Spots, the Nicholas Brothers, all came to Baltimore for that particular benefit concert. Now, and we all know too that it was Chick Webb who founded and responsible for the career of Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
He picked her up from the Apollo from a talent hut, and she came to be a part of his band. But anyway, moving ahead as we move about the Chick Webb Memorial Recreation Center. So after the deathbed wish, World War II broke out. Dr. Young and the committee put the money in war bonds to work with the war effort. So the fundraising was suspended. But after the war, Dr. Young reconvened the committee and they had a call out to Baltimore residents with benevolent groups and individuals contributed. So it was that particular Black group that actually built the first leg of the Chick Webb Memorial Recreation Center that is located at 623 Eden Street.
So that was the only Black center in Baltimore?
Absolutely. We could not go to Patterson Park, Clifton Park, Drew Hill Park, Carroll Park. It was restricted.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was in 1947. So that was
the year I was born.
1947 was when the Chick Webb Memorial Recreation Center was built. Now, we cannot phase out the city of Baltimore under Mayor D'Alessandro, because 2 years later, 1949, they actually built in a indoor swimming pool. And I'll tell you, this is where I learned to swim.
At Chick Webb?
At Chick Webb. I tell the city and I tell everyone, and again, when we reflect back on his death wish to move kids from juvenile delinquency to become good citizens, let me tell you, I learned to swim at Chick Webb when I was 9 years old. I became a lifeguard, and it helped me pay my way through school, as well as take care of my family.
Being a lifeguard?
That was part of it. That was part-time. It was a job. Mm-hmm. It was a job. So again, the elevation of my career started there by my having the job as a lifeguard. But the training and not only the training, but where I learned to swim, I tell you, that was that center. And that was Chick Webb Death Wish.
So you told us the history of the center. Where is the center now? What's going on with the center now?
Let me share with you some more information here, because it's been thriving for years, but it was been negligent for years. Because in 2016, the center was proposed for demolition. Mm-hmm. Believe that because in that particular area, it's situated in the $1 billion project area, the Perkins Somerset Old Town project. And the community actually was ready to embrace having a new YMCA. But there was a group that was formed called the Dunbar Coalition. Mm-hmm. These folks, it was headed by Miss Cognigan. The alarm went out. We met, came together, and created the Dunbar Coalition to prevent the demolition. And that was in 2016, 2017. Yeah.
So what's going on with it now?
Wow. But, it's great to say what's going on, but just the evolution to prevent the demolition was so important. Mm-hmm. It was so important. The city then had proposed a loan from HUD of $12 million, where we actually went. First of all, people would think because something as old as historic, it was not. The center is historic. So now it's an iconic African-American accomplishment, a Baltimore City historic landmark.
Oh, great.
And so as we proceeded ahead and knowing that it was situated within the Perkins Somerset Old Town project, had to challenge the city to say, okay, although it's designated historic, what you going to do now? So the money was coming from HUD, $12 million. But then when we looked at it, there wasn't any money coming from the Department of Recreation and Parks. So again, with the coalition, we pressed, and then the department did put money on the table. So now the project is at $20 million.
So what is going on with it? Is it being built or is it being torn down?
No, again, remember now, we talked about it being designated historic, okay. So we cannot tear it down.
Okay.
The Department of Rec had a working group that consisted of the community residents. Myself, I formed a nonprofit in order to have oversight, and it's called the RJY Chick Webb Council. We formed that to, again, continue after the designation of the historic landmark, and also to look forward to the redevelopment of the Chick Webb Center. So the Department of Rec had a working group, and we were intricately part of that. And we went through a number of community meetings as far as seeing what the Chick Web is. But we have to go a little further because with the city's working group and the Perkins Somerset Old Town project, they had the community to work on 3 projects at one time. City Springs is way down the road there where Perkins Projects was.
Mhm.
City Springs, Chick Web, and Madison at the same time. Here we had a vulnerable community, and expected us not to focus on Chick Web, but the 3 project areas because of the development. But Madison wasn't even in the development area, but we did. So it's been really a challenge. So where we are now with the $20 million, many people don't know about the capital improvement process, but that is where the departments put their money in every year. And one of the struggles they had to go through is they were trying to bundle Chick Web with Madison and whatever. But that means it didn't specify what money was going where.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of another initiative that the RJY Chick Web did was, hey, split that out of there so we can know exactly what's going into this project.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the city bundles things, it goes everywhere.
Okay.
So it's like, is it just some big stuff? So now, actually, what has happened now is that we've worked with the working group. We have an exhibition committee. I'll get to that. So we had the groundbreaking. The groundbreaking. The groundbreaking was held in May of this year.
Okay.
And what they call the 108 loan from HUD, the $12 million, although they talked about it in 2017, it was not approved until 2023.
Ronald, I just want to ask you, how can the community get involved with all that's going on with Chick Web?
Again, with the RJY Chick Web Council, and then they have what they call the Dunbar Coalition.
How can they get involved with
It's
community?
contacted folks in LinkedIn, and RJY Chick Web Council is citywide. So want to get involved with RJY Chick Web, Council, we're citywide, and I invite volunteers. We can email me at rjychickweb.com. We have a website. Oh, that's the website, rjychickweb.com. Yeah, that's the website. You can go on there, or you can call me directly at 443-413-0768, or you can email me at rjychickweb@gmail, and I'll reach back and bring you in to see what your strengths are and what you can contribute. And we can't make it difficult because what we say with RJY Chick Web Council is we work with 3 Ds: doers, donors, and donor attractors. Doers, as we are negotiating, I want to say fighting or whatever with the city or the council people or whoever, but doers, when some things are being said and we need people, make that phone call, send that email, show up. That's my doers. Donors, those are folks who say, oh, I can't do this, but here is some funds for you.
Mm-hmm.
Donor attractors, point to someone that be interested in the mission of the organization, and we'll reach out to that organization or that individual to donate. You see, so the 3 Ds: doers, donors, and donor attractors. So there's no excuse for non-involvement because there's something that everybody can do.
Why do you think that Chick Web is so important to the Black community?
Ooh, I think we expressed that. There is no other recreation center in the nation that was built by nationally known Black folk, not just the Black community. Because when I talk about that fundraiser that was held at the Chick Web, the 5th Regiment Armory, Joe Lewis, Ella Fitzgerald, Jackie Monley, Duke Ellington, the Ink Spot, Jackie Moon, where else?
Mhm.
It came together for that particular initiative on the part of Chick Webb, the man, William Henry Chick Webb. That's his whole name.
How many people will this center um, hold or accommodate when it's finished?
I wish I had bought the diagram, but again, going on our website, you can see the diagram. I don't know about the capacity, but again, part of the discussion with the working group, the department did a survey, and this becomes very important. They did a survey as to what the components of the center would be, the construction side.
Mhm.
So in the survey, and was circulated nationally, out of that survey department, 90% of that survey results came from RJY Chick Webb Council. And we had results from California, Nevada, New York, because when we put it out, we're saying that this is more of a national, iconic African American accomplishment, national, and not just East Baltimore, or not just Baltimore, or just not Maryland. This is national. Nowhere else in the country we built centers, but where is there another place that you had nationally known Black folk come together to do the initial fundraising?
Well, one of the concerns I have with them renovating these centers, I was at Cahill. Cahill is in West Baltimore, and it's a newly renovated center with all kinds of flaws.
Ooh.
The pool's not working right. The dance room wall is coming down. The floors are coming up.
Oh,
They can't operate the media center. The theater room is smaller than the original recreation center. So I think while you're doing this renovation, somebody should be keeping an eye out, because they got this fabulous building in West Baltimore, and they call it a Culture Arts Center, and it's not doing culture arts, and it's falling apart as we speak.
Well,
and it ain't something somebody told me. It's something that I know because I worked there. So I'm hoping that the contractor, because I even talked to the mayor about it, he said it's on the contract.
It is. See, but this is the point.
But you need to watch the contractors while they're building.
This is the point. Even being a part of this working group committee, and again, when you talk about community inclusion, we should be a part of the whole process. We should have been a part of when they put the request for proposals out and what contractors submitted. We should have been at the table to do that, but the Department of Rec made that decision. Now, myself, folks that see me, I'm down there almost every week. I can't go in, but on the selection process, when they talk of community inclusion, we should be a part of that. We should be evaluating the contract and be hopefully part of the selection process.
Well, how can we do this?
How can we do this? You have to be much of an advocate and press, because again, the department really, if they were genuine in working with the working group, as I mentioned, we should have been part of the selection process. We should have been part of the selection process.
But since you weren't a part of it now, what can we do to make our voices heard, to be a part of this center, who is a historical center, and we want to make sure it's done right.
Right.
We don't want it smaller than it was initially. Who has to say in it?
We as a people has to continue. We can't just walk away and let them do what they do. We keep an eye on everything. Look, even myself, when we had the groundbreaking in May, I had to continue to advocate because no work wasn't done until October. They didn't even start construction until October. But what happened? I was communicating. What is the delay here? People across the street, when they started digging, it amazes me, people across the street said, Oh, they broke up the playground. I said, well, didn't you know it's going under construction? It's going to take 2 years. Our people are disengaged. And then we have certain leaders who do not communicate with internally with the bordering community to tell folks what's going on.
Well, who's the
But-
council people over at Chickwell?
It's in Council District 12. That's
And who's the council
that
person?
is Mr. Robert Stokes.
Mr. Stokes?
Yes.
Okay.
See, but let's keep this in mind. And this is one of the things that even when we first got started, I had asked the Department of Rec to have charrettes to explain what was taking place to do it citywide. We kept it right there in East Baltimore. And again, I continue to say that this is larger than East Baltimore. So all the councilmen know, because I've communicated with all the council persons, but they are in silos. They work as if it's theirs, their district. I agree in some things that might be councilmatic, responsible, but when you have something as large as this, even when you talk about a Pimlico or whatever, that's whole because it affects the whole city. But our councilmen, our councilpersons act in silos and look to get permission from the sitting councilperson. Crazy.
I don't understand that. I mean, the council person represent the residents,
That's right.
and the residents has the voice.
Right.
So the council needs to do what the residents want.
But when you have apathy, I'm going to be very candid. When you have apathy in your neighborhood, the residents are doing whatever. Many of them really are not involved within their neighborhood.
Well, I'm having you on this podcast so we can get the word out.
Right.
I'm going to ask you to come back again and give an update. This is going to be something that we're going to do every week. We're going to have a little spot for Chickwell.
Oh my, it's going to be
Okay.
fantastic.
So we're going to make sure that the community hears what's going on.
Excellent.
You know, you talked about Chickwell. We want to make sure that they know this was a Black center that was created by Black folks, and we got to make a difference and have a voice in what goes on.
I tell you, it's very, very critical. Because right now, I'm examining, and I've sent it out to folks, the exhibit as to what's going to go on the inside to tell the story of Chickwell. I've examined the draft exhibit. There needs to be some changes made. There wasn't any outreach to living people to document some of their story to be a part of this document.
Mm-hmm.
We invited, RJ Watching, we just invited Miss Stephanie Crease on New York, who just recently wrote The Rhythm Man, the most recent biography of Chickwell. Now, how would you writing a story for the exhibit before this biography came out that you could extract it from to make more accuracy in the report?
You know,
Cool. So I've contacted
Okay.
the city to say, I've contacted them to say we need to examine, and I've reached out to the community that we should be able to go page by page as to what they want to exhibit in that center. So yes, I'm reaching out to people and please get in touch with me so we can examine what's proposed for the exhibition. I'll say another thing. With the survey, there was another desire to put another basketball court. But you will see that in the addition of the center, rather than a basketball court, we're making that a multi-purpose education, health, and wellness place that can be having what you're mentioning, cultural events as well as basketball. Why would you put another basketball court when it's right next door to Dunbar High School, down the street from McKim Center, down the street from the Living Classroom, down the street from Madison? Didn't make sense. So we did negotiate, and so one part of the addition, and I'll bring with me next time the design. It's in my code. The structure as to what's going in the center with the walking track, the education room, and let's not call this a rec center, but we're going to call this a health and wellness center. Parentheses is recreation.
Mhm.
And then the other part of this is I had to do the demographics for the area because they wanted to put another playground there and one of the teen room. When I did the demographics for the area, it was like people 18 and over represented 75% of the community. Why would I, as a nonprofit, and me as a volunteer, do all of this kind of analysis without the city staff people that are doing it so that they could, in fact, uh, recommend it, what would be proposed in that center? It's
You know
crazy.
what I want to suggest? There's a center in Howard County, and it was the first black colored school in Howard County. And they renovated it and made it a culture arts center. They
Wow.
call it the Harriet Tubman Center. I had my first all-white party there because I wanted to
Okay.
go to a black facility. But I want you to take a trip out there and look at that facility
Okay.
and see how they reserve the history and the school, all the people that used to be there, the principal who used to be there. And it's just a historical place. And we were the first one. You know, I like to be first in whatever I do. We were the first swing dancers to go out there to dance, and had a great time. And just the ambiance of the building, walking through it, seeing it, knowing that it was a part of black folks' history.
You are really, really on point. Even for your short term, what we pushed for, your short term at the Chick Web Center when you wanted to do the hand dance thing down there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, reached out to the community. Very few people came. But if we continue that kind of thing, it's be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Because the nearest, again, when we look at the population, the nearest folks for seniors, there are three, maybe four now, senior complexes within a few blocks, 600 residents.
Well,
And they're in front of their complexes. So educating them and bringing them out is going to be, again, it's about the programming.
It's about the program. Our programs in our rec center are just none, and they just dead. They're warehousing our kids. They let them open the doors and letting them come in. They have no constructive programs. I'm very disappointed in recreation and park. And recreation and parks were the first job that I ever had. I love recreation. I love working with kids, but they don't have anything for my kids. Like I said, I was working there for almost a year trying to promote this dance.
Right.
And at the time, I had a following. So I made a flyer and put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they fired me.
Oh.
See, and because there was no one coming in these centers, and I knew I had a following, I put it out there. That's
great.
The people that fired me, they wound up quitting the next week. I even talked to the mayor about it. He said, "Shirley, I'm gonna look into it," and he never did.
If we just, but I just, I was promoting when you were doing the dance. I went to every senior place over there and told them when you was having your hand dance thing over there. That's what's going to be definitely interim. But again, it was a start of something.
Yeah. It was a start of something that they just cut it off because they didn't think. And I think that our age people should have a special place in these rec centers because it's so dangerous out here. They should have programs for seniors, whatever it is, in these rec centers.
And that's what we're talking about. The language we use with the Chick Web Center as we evolving is intergenerational. Mm-hmm. And see, I don't go to battle with blanks. I go with bullets. You'd be surprised at how many rec centers that I just stopped to just see how operational they are. Well, I have went to many and found them not to be very, very functional. But when we think about the issues here in Baltimore, That's low on the totem pole as far as the other things that we're dealing with. But not to excuse the mayor, but he needs to have the right people in place to elevate this. Even when I talk of elevation, again, back to the Chickwell Rec Center, um, it should not just be a city historic. The department should also look at it being national historic. And then when I proposed to them that the council will work with them to do on fundraising, even on this initial piece, so we will work with you to reach out to philanthropic organizations and whatever. We stay within public money only. I am certain that if we had been given an opportunity, we could have expanded it. And one of the things that Morgan State University did a rendering for us early on when I presented it to the working group, it included an economic development component, a cafe. They said, we can't do that. You can't do that because we don't have the money. But you didn't have the money because you're only dealing with public money. Give us the opportunity to reach out and get public money, private money, and work together. It was, to me, I interpret it as we don't need your help. And as a nonprofit and don't have site control, you just can't do that.
I understand that. But this is what I'm saying. Our kids are getting killed in the street. Our kids are going to jail more frequently than any other uh, race of kids. I'm just sick of it. I think that recreation is a big part that can help out, but they're not doing their job. And I can say that because I worked there. I know. I remember a time when Baltimore Department of Recreation, everybody came from different states to see our recreation, our model, and they modeled their centers from us. We had a round table. I mean, there have been some great recreators. I mean,
Look,
recreators.
going back to the history of the Chick Web Rec, they used to accommodate more than 500 kids. Chick Web Rec had a championship swimming team in 1953 called the WEBB. Chick Web had even synchronized swimming. So the programming is inadequate today. Even teams, you find more activity with the volunteer groups that have these football teams and the track teams and whatever than you have in the rec centers. So
That's
and get the
because
youth in, we need to get and get the they're doing this electric job. We need the proper programming to attract them.
people are not going online and registering for these rec
Oh my
centers
God!
because some of them feel like they tracking them, especially the young people feel like they tracking them. And with this online thing, recreation has to find a way to get our kids involved in these programs and save some kids' lives like my life was saved. My life was saved because of a rec center. You
And the peace
understand?
and the
So my heart
relationship
is for recreation center.
and
But when you bring you go to the recreation center and you learn everything in the recreation center, you get a job in the recreation center. But now they bring in all these people from different states. They not concerned about our kids.
See, I have to kind of push back on that because I'm one who have worked in different cities throughout the country.
I understand.
And the piece is, many times they think people from outside don't come in and do right. But what they have to do is learn their community.
That's what I'm saying.
I know,
but if you got somebody here that lives in the community, you don't have to go out and get everybody else from different states. I don't have a problem with people coming in here working. But when you come and bring your relatives, your family, and everybody, and it's people here that needs these jobs, I got a problem with.
That is lacking of some oversight. And I would have to say that the Department of Rec is low on the totem pole as far as what's happening. See, because again, the important thing is, even from the community perspective, that was you as a staff person. But what was the act? The people in the saying they just sweep it under the rug.
Because they don't know what's going on.
But they we got to take on some of the responsibility.
But when you come in someplace and you get rid of all the old people,
right,
and bring in all young people, it's something wrong with that picture. When you getting rid of knowledge, when you getting rid of experience, not that the young people don't have good ideas, because they do, and they see things a different way. Absolutely. And you learn a lot of things from younger people, but also you know, with the knowledge that you already experienced, you can share this with some young people.
Absolutely. Again, it's a culmination of moving ahead. And the piece is, we as the people have to take on the responsibility that we could not leave it up to like staff people because they're intimidated. But again, the so-called community people and the advocates who have oversight within their community should take much more responsibility.
I agree.
And so, some of the things, and like I'm telling you, right across the street, you have Ashton Muse, Mark Morton Court, all of these people. And for them not to know the construction of the center, when I know I've done quite a bit of outreach to them.
Well, we probably have to get what they call it when you call the news, the TV in, and invite them and have a little set.
So you invite them, see, but you also need the constituency that's going to show up. So you invite the news people, and then your people ain't there, and it becomes you issue. So again, galvanizing. I used to be a community organizer, even Park Heights, right up here. I'm the first director of community organization in Park Heights Community Corporation.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we used to take 200 people down to the block grant hearings in order to get the money for the Park Heights community. That was in the 70s and the 80s.
Okay, anyway, Ronald, before we go any further, I want to hit on three main things. Okay. What can the community do to help you with this project? That's the first question.
What they can do is contact me, express their interest. I would, again, getting on the same page, educate them so that we know what the issues are, if there are issues, and be advocates. That's why I'm not going after any city money or certain grant money, because I'm not going to become complicit. And again, the numbers, but the education is important. The numbers become important. I need people with like minds who's going to be centered and working on the project and become educated up to how resources have gotten and what we can do.
All right. Give them your name again.
Ronald Miles. That's Miles. I can be reached at 443-413-0768. I can be reached by email at rjychickweb@gmail. And visit our website. I tell everyone that what I'm doing is a graduate course, because I'm not going to fight the city. I go to negotiate. We go with bullets and not blanks. Knowing the process, teaching folks the process, so that when we walk in the door, we all got the same information and negotiate. One of the things I'm wish to negotiate, is that when this center got 2 years, when this center is completed, as far as what we talk about community benefit, we should have a structure in place that can manage and operate this center outside of the Department of Rec and Parks. I presented that. It's in writing, but again, strengthening the core organization, that you have to have your structure in place. You got to know how to manage it so you can do it. That would be a community benefit, not a consumer that once it gets done, you just go in and do the activities. No, once it gets done, you help present and promote the activities.
How do you have meetings once a month or any special time that your group meets?
Mostly now, our bylaws calls for board meetings. I can make those general meetings quarterly, but the work goes in the 4 committees that we have. When we strengthen the committees, they work all the time. But bringing folks together, I want to have it quarterly, and then we have our annual meeting. The annual meeting should be coming up in January.
Okay, but they can call you on those numbers
Absolutely.
in your email.
Again, to become involved is looking at the committees, whatever. For instance, we had a program committee. We celebrated the 75th anniversary. We had an event at Keystone. We had one at Dunbar, which you were very much part of. We worked with Baltimore Jazz Festival, Baltimore Jazz Alliance, and then the outreach, going out to the community groups, educating them. See, that's our program committee. Then we got our finance committee. That then you want to come on and learn about what resources are available. We're bringing information. Then that's our finance committee that then supports the activities. And then we have our membership committee and public. See, so there's some specific committees that folks can work on. And then on our quarterly meeting, I don't want to overwork people with general meeting. On the quarterly meeting, everybody reports and we can show the progress of what we're doing.
All right. Well, I'm glad you came today to be a part of all that dance, because dancing is my thing. And hopefully you'll come back next week and give me an update on did you get any phone calls?
Okay.
Hopefully that people will follow you and get on your train.
Okay. The other thing I would like to do next week is I can bring in some of our exhibits.
Okay.
And we can talk more systematically, because again, that will build the foundation for people who come in to know what the struggle has been and where we need to go.
Okay.
I need to educate folks like that.
Well, that's what I'm about, educating. What's going on in our city? Who do you go to? Because there was a time that I could go to anybody and it's who you know. See, and now I don't know nobody.
But again, being a community organizer, I'm a grassroots person. And what usually occurs with this so-called leadership is that they begin to talk to you. You see, but we have to bring other people. So everybody's singing the same song. I ain't going to do a favor for you because that's where it goes. I owe you. Then you're going to play with my fundraiser or whatever else. But no, we need to understand that our elected officials legislate. And yes, and they approve a budget and all of that, but they legislate. And the sidearm is there, what they call it, community service. I worked for the city for 14 years. If a councilman called me to say, get this done, I did not, because all the directors are under the mayor. I said, we can work this out. It's going to make sense before I move on this. But they can't move nothing unless they're good friends with DPW or recreation or so. They can't even put up a stop sign.
Well, that's another.
That's a piece of education. I'm telling you.
All right. Well,
do not defer to your council person to get things done. Community, you bring to them what your issues are. They then take it further, and you're augmenting what it is that they do. Because now I do have the people.
Okay.
I ain't doing no favors.
Well, it's
I don't do no favors.
Good to have you on my show. Hope to see you again.
Hope you will see me.
Okay.
Invite me.
And I invited you next week to come on and give me a little.
Let's see what the schedule is.
And see what we're going to have. Chick
This
Web.
would be a very good outlet of telling our own story. You don't need the banner. You don't need the afro. You don't need the sign. With all of this technology today, and then taking this, reaching out to the populace to tune in, that becomes very good. That's organizing.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about a little project that I'm starting. It's a dance contest. It's going to be at the Sheraton Hotel on December the 16th. It's let me start this again. I have a little project. It's going to be a competition at the Sheraton Hotel downtown. And it's going to be at Morton's Steakhouse inside the Sheraton. And it's going to be from 1 to 3. It's going to be a dance contest. First prize is $100. Second prize is $50. And the audience is going to decide who wins the contest. So bring your cheering squad with you. But I hope to see you. You can call Robert Willis. His number is on the screen, but his number is 410-812-3114. His email is aura, WILIS, at ulmnet.com. I want to see you there.
I think you missed an L.
Well, it's on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about today is my dance class on Tuesday. I'm trying to build up my dance class. It's Tuesday at the Waxter Center from 5 to 6. Bring your dance shoes. You don't need a partner, but you can bring a partner if you want. The cost for the dance class is $11 for an hour. And we dance an hour, just free dancing during that day. Every Tuesday, I look to see you there. I also have a project going on at the 5 Mile House, but you must cash at me. It's the third Saturday of every month. I've had it 3 times and the attendance been a little low. So if you want to cash at me at $SD hand dance with 1D, SDHANDANCE at Verizon.net. So, with that all said and done, let me give a shout out to my Douglas Ducks. Quack, quack. I love Douglas. I'm up there trying. And sitting by a poet. The first 2 black centers, the first black centers in this city. West side was Douglas. East side was Dunbar. Dunbar Poets. With my partner over here. I'm representing.
We're bridging East and West. That's my objective. Mm-hmm. That's a goal, really.
So, with all that said and done, see you on the wood. Don't forget your dance shoes. Come out and have a great time. Have fun.
This is crazy. I hope we did all right. I don't know.